All right, I'm recording at night. It's dark, so you can't really see anything. As you can see, I'm gonna put the phone down so I can talk freely while I'm driving. But one thing I've noticed about what Microsoft is doing, is that they're trying to make their services available to all devices like Office 365, OneDrive, Bing Search, and they're not just stuck on the Windows Phone platform. But a lot of you may argue that and say, well, that's because Windows Phone is not doing that well. So why not get on everybody else's game and go for that and go for broke? That's a good argument, right? Hey, because Google has Android on lock. But Google also knows that iOS, which is iPhone and iPad, is also the second most popular smartphone on the market. iPhone used to be the most, but they lost that. So Android is the first, Apple is second, or Apple iOS is second. So, okay, Google doesn't have to be so giving to other OSs out there like Firefox OS and Windows Phone and BlackBerry. They could be a little bit more stingy and be like, we're only going to give it a 2. Whereas Microsoft, Windows Phone is trailing at number 3, but it's a very low 3. It's like not even close to where iOS and Google is. So you can kind of see why they are sort of like, I'm going to have to offer it to all these other devices just because there are some people who are stuck on iOS, there are some people who are stuck on Android, and they're not accepting of Windows Phone. That's because Windows Phone doesn't have as many apps. Windows 8 doesn't have as many apps, which is true. I am a Microsoft fan, diehard. I'm a diehard Microsoft fan. Yes, I am. And don't have no shame whatsoever at being a Microsoft fan, diehard. I love technology. And if I had all the money in the world, I would get everything out there. I would get a Microsoft Surface, a Samsung tablet, a Nexus 7. I know that's by Asus, but I'll have a Galaxy S5, HTC One, an Apple iPhone 5, or 7, whatever, and iPad Mini. I'll have everything out there because if money wasn't an issue, I love technology. I would get it. I would get everything out there. It'll be no problem for me, because I love technology. But because I have to choose my technology, I kind of have to be a little stingy as well and only be able to pick one ecosystem that works on everything. And because I already use Windows, well, I'm going to go with Windows Phone. Because I got a Windows 8 tablet that also runs Windows 8 UI, and it runs Windows 8 Pro. I might as well get a Windows Phone because then my ecosystem is the same all the way around. That's my opinion on it. Other people's opinions may vary, but my opinion is everything's going to be Windows and everything is going to be Microsoft. Also, I have an Office 365 account. I also do consulting in Office 365. Office 365 works better with Windows and Windows Phone, so I'm going to stick with Windows. Now, it would be better if I had the ability to have all these different OSs so I can test Office 365 on an iPad, on an Android, on a Macintosh computer. That would be better. I would love to have that type of situation. In fact, I wish for that situation, and one day I will be able to do that. I will be able to own a fancy Macintosh a desktop. or purchase a really nice Mac laptop, a MacBook or or a what is that thing called? The thin version, Slim or whatever it's called. Okay, the really thin Macintosh. Maybe one day I can do that, as well as own a Microsoft Surface and a bitchin' ass Windows desktop, have a Linux computer. One day I will be able to do that. But right now, I have to kind of choose what I can get. And I love Microsoft anyway. Even if I had the choice to pick whatever I want, I will still pick mostly Microsoft because I see the vision. Microsoft has the vision of the future. And this is only recent. This is a recent thing that I came to. Because before, I used to be all about Macs. Back when Mac 2 came out, I wanted a Mac 2. But back then, Macintosh were extremely expensive. So I was stuck with a Windows XP. And then Windows Vista came out, and I got a Windows Vista machine because they were cheaper. But what got me stuck, and what led me to see that Microsoft had the vision of the future, was the business productivity software, such as Exchange, SharePoint, and Communicator. Back in 2007 and 2006, I saw what Microsoft was trying to do, was trying to integrate all these different technologies into one and to make it a one collaborative workspace. And now they're working really hard to even add even more things to the ecosystem so that everything works as one login for everything. And Google, Oracle, or anybody else out there has yet to come close to what Office 365 and Microsoft Cloud Services has to offer. Not even close. I'm sorry. It doesn't compare. Maybe Google will be that in the future. But at this particular time, I'm not talking about what comes out tomorrow. I'm not talking about what comes out a few months from now or a few years from now. I'm talking about at this time. Office 365 got everybody beat. Will that change? We'll see. I'm home now. So, peace out.